Namaste, my name is Sanat Kumar. Welcome back to the Manana podcast. Manana is a Sanskrit word that means reflection or contemplation. In this podcast, I'll be sharing my deep, insightful reflections for you to contemplate and hence live a life of fulfillment. I hope you find great value in today's episode. I wrote this blog mainly for the readers of Bharat. Of course, you might already know that Bharat is not just a geographical area. It is an idea, a lifestyle, a culture. And I wrote this because of what I've experienced when I say Namaste. Some people say hi even after they've heard what I told. Of course, if it is just once, I can agree, it comes out of habit. But when you're meeting a person on a weekly basis or a daily basis, and you know that the other person is going to say Namaste, and you still say hi, so that is what you have to think about. I don't know, do they think it is religious, or do they think I am trying to manipulate or make an image or impress someone? And when I answer a call and say Namaste, the other person acts as if my voice isn't audible to them, as if there's something wrong with the call connection, when all they are is confused and second guessing whether they've called the right person. Why so? Is Namaste new or is it strange? Neither, right? Namaste is not just a symbol, a gesture, a tradition, or a part of religion. Of course, it is all that, but not just that. Namaste is something beyond all that. Namaste is a reminder. Namaste is not just merely about acknowledging someone's presence. It should remind us of many aspects of life. 1. Humility. When we meet anyone and say Namaste, we are bowing, at least figuratively, and embracing the fact that there is a possibility of knowledge you do not have residing in you, the other person you just met has. In simple words, you are acknowledging the possibility that the other person may be wiser than you. Namaste is an opportunity for us to practice humility. Second, oneness. The greatest philosophy of Bharat is oneness. You might call it Advaita in the spiritual sense, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in a social sense, or say we are earthlings in a more general or biological sense. But essentially, in all those views, we all are one. That is, a yogi, in the Advaitic sense, acknowledges that all are one because the ultimate consciousness within is one. A socialist may see everyone belonging to one group, one family, one nation, humanity, or one world. Or a scientist or a reformer might acknowledge that we all are essentially made up of the same materials and hence we are one. Essentially, we are one, whatever the explanation is. And every time we say Namaste, let us try to remind ourselves of this oneness. 3. Compassion. When there is oneness, there is no discrimination. There are no biases, no dislikes. One should be compassionate to all, at least in the ideal case. Namaste is an opportunity to be compassionate. Each time we say Namaste, we must try to remind ourselves this, to be compassionate. 4. Divinity. Each time we say Namaste, we are trying to see God, the divine, or the divinity in the other person by bowing, at least figuratively, to him or her. Of course, I say figuratively to say that we are not bowing literally, but that was also a part of our culture, to bow down literally. We still do bow down to elders and teachers. Anyway, coming to divinity. So where does that lead us to? To a culture that sees divinity in every individual. 5. Culture. Humility, oneness, compassion, divinity. Think about it. How great would a society be with all these qualities installed in every individual's heart? And I'm not asking you to imagine something that I've cooked up. This has been our culture for more than hundreds of centuries. We've just forgotten. That's it. Every time you say Namaste, optimally before and after any conversation, you should be reminded of this great culture, Sanatana Dharma, and be proud to be a part of this great culture. Instead, what do we do? We say, hey, hello, hi. Do these words have meaning? That's something I want to ask everybody. Does it instill, if at all, any greater values than Namaste? I'm not saying this to joke about or downgrade other cultures. Sure, hey, hi, hello may be used to greet others in different cultures. They can surely follow that, but is it a wise choice to swap this culture for your own culture? Are those cultures worth overshadowing Bharat's culture? Are you ashamed of this great culture? Or aren't you courageous enough to be part of this culture in the public? Do not be ashamed to say namaste. Instead of saying hi, hello, or hey, do not be ashamed to join your palms instead of shaking hands. Initially, it may seem hard, or it might even lead to some socially awkward situations, but continue to respect your culture by continuing to practice saying namaste. If you'd like to wish someone good morning, good afternoon, or good day, sure, you may, but after namaste. You can wish after you acknowledge all that namaste stands for. Of course, I must admit my case too. I greet namaste most of the time to my friends, colleagues, or relatives, but I still forget to say it sometimes, like when I say hi when the person greets me with a hi first, which I think is fine because that means you're respecting the other person's greet. But still, I like to say namaste. Or sometimes I forget to say namaste while leaving. I tend to say the automized reply bye. So I'm also a work in progress. Nevertheless, I'm continuously treading on the path that I just mentioned. See, I just gave you a few pointers to remind you and urge you to say and practice namaste. But of course, there are more points too, like when you join your hands, Surya Nadi and Chandra Nadi, or you can say the right brain and left brain are coming together. And when you do that very often in a day, there must there has to be some benefits, right? So through this episode, I urge you to remember the great culture you are part of and try to live that culture, starting by installing Namaste as your default way of greeting, be it in a digital chat or in a human scenario. And every time you say Namaste, try to remind yourself or reflect on the points I just mentioned: humility, oneness, compassion, divinity, and our great culture, Sanatana Dharma. I hope you received excellent value in today's episode. To know more, head over to sanatkumarnabi.com, and if you haven't already, check out my book, The Flower of Fulfillment. Thank you for listening, and I wish you have a great day.